which is the Saturday after next, and it will be held from 12 p.m. to 7 p.m. So not too far away at all.
We do the mouse until the mouse out now. Give it clear. Put it now.
Great. So in planning for the event, we have been engaging with the community quite closely, including local traders from Gungahlin Place and on Hibberson Street, as well as the wider area. We have been holding working group meetings. Our first working group meeting was back in August, and we've also held 2 in September, as well as one which was just before this meeting today. So we've been working with local traders to basically gather ideas in the initial stages about what they wanted the event to be, and that's been working really well for us. So the details that you saw on that first slide about the name, the date and the time of the event were actually decided by the working group, and they were decisions that we came to in those working group sessions. We also did letterbox drops, walkarounds to local traders, including a lot of the food traders who couldn't make it to the working group sessions, as well as email updates. We were also out in the community today taking vox pops of a lot of the local traders to help us in getting promotion, really ramping that up. So the event is really to thank local traders and the community for their patience during construction of major works on Hibberson Street. There are a lot of logistics that we have set down. So there will be a road closure on Hibberson Street for the day of the event. That will be Hibberson Street from Gossard Street to Gungahlin Place from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. And that will really give us the opportunity to showcase how the new Hibberson Street shared zone can be used for these type of activation events. So we will have security on the day. There'll be 3 security guards on duty. One will be on entry to the local stage area. One will be inside the enclosed local stage area, and we'll also have one roving around Gungahlin Place. We're also bringing additional toilets. There will be 3 toilets and 1 disabled toilet, additional at both stage areas. We'll also be looking after waste management with Brindabella Waste coming in to look after that for us, as well as first aid, which will also be at both stages. So you can see here a footprint map of the event. So you can see both stages there. We have the community stage, which is in the median of Gungahlin Place there, as well as the local stage, which is at the Hibberson Street, Gossard Street intersection. So at the Hibberson Street, Gossard Street intersection, there will also be a licensed bar, which will be run by Gungahlin East Lakes here. And that will be a licensed bar, and we'll have security on entry to that, so a pop-up bar there. At the local stage, we'll have a range of entertainment from local artists. I've listed them there. I won't run through them all, but there will be a variety of acts for people to come along and have a look at. At the community stage, we've really have a lot of community groups who will have come on board to perform again. There will be a whole range of activities throughout the day, as well as some interactive performances, and that will be at the local community stage. There will be also a lot of stalls and activities. So in the meeting on Gungahlin Place, we will have about 20 stalls. We have been liaising with the local traders to help fill spots on those stalls and helping them out in terms of what they can provide on the day. So there's a list there of some of the local traders that will be there. There's also going to be a lot of children's activities. So Bookface and Mollycoddle will be doing face painting, potter plant, as well as glitter tattoos, community art wall, a whole range of activities to keep the children entertained as well. So we're really ramping up promotion, as I mentioned before. We have flyers and posters here for people to take away. We've already done a handout of the flyers and posters to all the local traders to help get word out about the event. We'll be doing further promotion this week with live reads on radio all through next week, and we've also done some magazine advertisements as well. So we'll continue to ramp that up over the next week. But any help anyone can give us in terms of getting promotion out about the event, that's always appreciated. Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay, great. Well, thank you. Please remember, take a poster and flyer, help us get word out, and we really hope to see you there. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really been great that we've got something filling in to celebrate the end of all the construction work, and it will be good to see the whole Hibberson Street thing live and in action. So Shane Nelson from the Defence Housing Authority has kindly come along to give a bit of an update on some of the process that the Defence Housing Authority are executing to deliver on the announcement made earlier this year for Defence Housing to move to the town centre. So I just asked Shane to come up and say a few words. Thanks.
So just for reference, we're actually Defence Housing Australia, so not that that really matters. Just in relation to where we're currently positioned, as just discussed, the government has asked or directed in essence that a small to medium-sized government agency be located in the Gungahlin town centre, and for a number of logistical reasons, Defence Housing Australia was asked to initiate that move. So we've just gone out in the last couple of weeks for an expression of interest to potential developers within the area. And what we are seeking at the moment, this is all publicly available information, what we're seeking is between 4,500 to 5,500 square metres with approximately 150 car parks available. So we'll see that response. That expression of interest is due at the end of October, and from there we will then move into a review of that, and then we'll invite a request for tender with what we see at that point in time as well. Some of the initial interest in terms of discussions appears really good in respect to potential sites being available and developers being keen to make available to that. The timing of it is looking at March 2022. So it is a few years away, but at the same time it's a relatively tight timeline in relation to not having any land identified to building through there as well. So we are progressing through. It is front of mind for DHA and the government in general. So as mentioned, DHA is currently located in Barton and Fyshwick, and our lease in Barton finishes in 2022, so we'll be aligning with that. And in Fyshwick we have a property management team that works there, and they'll also be located no later than 2023, just depending on timing in terms of how the fit out occurs through that point in time. So that's really all the information I give at this point in time. At the end of October, the expression of interest does close, and we expect to receive some good responses in relation to that, and then we'll progress through that next stage, and obviously a lot of that will be public available, and as mentioned, I was happy to come out and chat to yourselves if required at that point in time. So I'm not sure if there are any questions. There's not really a lot more I can say because we're still in that process at the moment, but I thought it'd be important just to come and keep yourselves in the loop in that regards as well.
I've got a question, Shane, and I'll get you to repeat it for the people remotely. You mentioned the amount of floor space, but how many actual staff will that translate to the things?
We're looking at around 300 staff across the two different sites that we currently use. So maybe staged in that regards, but the end state is for 300 odd staff within Defence Housing Australia.
Fantastic.
So that's not your entire Canberra presence?
That is the entire Canberra presence. Yeah, like I said, we have head office in Barton, and then a smaller presence which is regional, which is really our property managers looking after all the service, what we call service residents in the ACT area.
Off the cuff, would you know how many properties you have in Gungahlin?
Ooh, in Gungahlin we have quite a strong presence here. I probably need to, not to use a government term, but take that on notice. Happy to provide that, but it is. We have a really big number. Gungahlin is a heavy presence for us here. But to be fair, we have properties located right around the ACT, down in Gugong. A lot of recent activities occurred through Gugong, Jerrabomba, down on the south side, servicing areas like HU Jock, out through towards the Bungendore area and so forth like that. But we'd definitely be probably leading up to a couple of thousand in that regards across the region.
Cool. Anything else? All right. Well, thanks very much, Shane. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it is a pretty exciting move. We're trying to get more employment out in the town centre, take advantage of the light rail and all that. Has been something the Community Council has been striving for some time. So it's a great piece of news. Roads update, to be preceded by an update on the Better Suburbs program. Jim Corrigan.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, hi all, Jim Corrigan. I work with Transport Canberra City Services as well with Renee and Emily, so that's where I fit in. So look, I'll give you a roads update in a sec, probably what you already want after, but I thought to take the opportunity. I don't know, David, have you given the Community Council an update before on?
Probably not, no.
Okay, well look, I'll jump in here with the Better Suburbs Forum. And if you've heard a bit about that, and then David, you might want to contribute David was a participant on behalf of Gungahlin Community Council, which was really good. So look, the forum, what this is about, the government's been looking at a number of ways of improving its consultation and participation by the community in some of the key things that the government does. So the Better Suburbs, what this was about was, I look after the city services bit of Transport Canberra City Services. That's all the municipal services for Canberra. That's sort of my role. So what we did, we designed this, we wanted to sort of talk to the community about, in a nutshell, we provide a lot of services. We want to know, are we doing a lot of right things, or are we doing the right things the right way? And we wanted to really understand for the community, because often when you're in government, you do things efficiently, the best you can for government. But sometimes you want to know, you need to reset yourself and say, okay, we might be doing all these great things. Is it what the community wants? So we designed this whole forum basically. So process, I won't bore you with the details. It was using an electoral process. We went out to the whole of Canberra community, and people nominated, and we selected through that 60 participants to represent Canberra. So they represent all areas of Canberra and all demographics and things like that. And so these people, they spent a lot of their own time. So it was 5 full days, so two full weekends and a Saturday previous to work through the whole sort of whole thing. The outcome was a Better Suburbs statement. That statement is available on Your Say. So if you go onto the AC Government Your Say website, you can just go to Your Say, type in Better Suburbs, and the statement will come up. I recommend reading it because it was developed by the participants of the forum and not by government. And what it does, it went through all these municipal services we provide. It said what's important to them. It ranked them in order of priority, and also said where we think the government should invest more, where you think the investment sounds about right, and where you could possibly reduce investment and put the money into something else. So it's all there. I highly recommend it to you. So now, for example, and it's interesting, and is the first priority was water quality, of all things, water quality, stormwater, that sort of stuff. So hang on, how's this work? You get the mouse on it, and then
make sure you get the pointer in contact.
There we go. So just a bit of background, sort of some of the things we did. What I might do, I'll just jump very quickly to the sort of things. I've sort of covered these sort of things, what we want to do. I can leave a copy of this for you, but I want to get to the last slide, which is the best one. Behave. Was it doing any better? Right. So the final statement was doing these things. This is actually a picture Minister Fitzharris, obviously familiar with, being Yereby's her electorate. She was the Minister for City Services at the time when the statement was given to her. But since that time, Minister Steele has taken over. So this is the moment when the statement was actually provided to Mr Fitzharris on the last Sunday. So, like I said, commend the statement too. So I went through all these sort of things. I went through, looked at these things, how can we work together, that sort of stuff, prioritise some of those services and those sorts of things. Just quickly, I mentioned water quality, stormwater management was priority number 1. Trees was number 2. I think 3, I shouldn't know off the top of my head, I've read the statement so many times, but things like there was issues around like waste management, how can just provide better services for the community right through there. So I commend it to you. What's happened since that time? Minister Steele has tabled that statement in the Assembly, and he's given the commitment to the Assembly that he will see it through. And he's already asked us, we've already started work on it in the Directorate. We are looking to, with the advice around where we need to enhance investment, maintain it, shape our work we do to meet the priorities of the statement. We've already started that work. The Minister has asked us, he said he wants us to provide him sort of a briefing on how that looks like going forward with the future year's budgets. So it's a very powerful thing. It actually is going to shape how we deliver services going into the future. So it's pretty good. Last bit I'll mention, Peter, before I jump to roads, is one part of it. Minister Fitzharris, before she handed over to Minister Steele, she said she wanted the forum to specifically, she gave the forum $1.9 million to spend on play spaces. So from the forum, bit of work, we needed more work. There was a representative group who volunteered from the 60 participants. About 40 of them went forward with a play space forum. We went into details around play spaces and what we do in play spaces across Canberra. And that work is underway. So that 1.9 million was actually the community. So the 1.9 million was there presented. We presented how we manage play spaces across Canberra. We asked the community then to say, okay, what's priorities for them and how they like that 1.9 million allocated. They've done that. There's now panels working out exactly which playgrounds to get the funding, and that's all in operation now. So it's another pretty cool thing happened out of this was, like I said to the forum participants, I said, you know, if you want a new playground on the carousel in the city with a water slide for 1.9 million, we would deliver it. They didn't come up with that idea, but there was a whole bunch of other things they looked at, a lot of maintenance and things like that. So, but the allocation the forum has told us we are now doing. So it's another pretty cool thing. So, I know. Sorry, okay.
There's a member of the public wondering if they can come in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yes, absolutely. We are a fact day parliament.
Yeah, bring them all in. Drinks. David was a participant of the forum. It was in Gungahlin. Is there anyone you want to add to the? Yeah.
A couple of bits. So, as Jim was saying, most of the 60 participants were selected through a randomised process, but the community council randomly, but not so lucky. But yeah, the whole process, we had access to high-level public servants, high-level information. We could ask any question we wanted. They were very open and very forthcoming with the answers. It was a big effort. There was, as you said, 5 days plus the extra day for the Play Spaces forum, but it was a great opportunity, and I think we did well with it as well. I mean, obviously we could always have done better, but I think we did quite well with it. At the start of the 5 days, they asked us to gauge how successful we felt it might be, and then they asked us again later on through it. And I think that everyone had some reservations at the start, but by the time we got to the end, the process was a solid process. It was well thought out and well executed. So we were all fairly happy with what we could contribute by the end. And in fact, that process was something that I hoped that the government would take value in as well. Not just the Better Suburbs statement, but this participatory process to say, well, we can go and ask people directly if they're interested. And yeah, so no, thought that'll work well. Before I jump back there, any questions about that for either Jim or myself?
I'm loving the sound of it. I suppose the question is, what concrete examples of change have occurred on the ground?
Yeah.
It's slightly a bit early, but the 1.9 million allocated to play spaces, that's for this financial year. So, for example, the forum said they wanted new what's called natural play spaces. So where kids, logs and mud and cool things and dirt and sticks and stuff. So they want one at Edison Park in Phillip and one at Glebe Park in the city. We've commenced work to design that and procure that and to deliver it this financial year. So that's commenced. So that work. So it's a bit early on the rest of it, but because there's a lot in there. But the minister has said he wants advice from us how we're going to deliver the statement. So have a look at the statement and keep us honest about it.
Yeah, I might just add that was
important if you can trace, concrete examples that come out of it.
Yeah.
Tie back to the statement that encourages the whole process and be done again in other areas.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that was definitely a concern. Well, like, a consideration that was raised by the participants. We're putting a lot of our own time and energy into this. What's going to happen? Is it going to be worthwhile? And at the start of the forum, it was a question, and by the end of it, most people were fairly happy that it was leading somewhere good and somewhere concrete. But it does remain to be seen.
Yeah, we'll have to work out updates and things like that. Exactly those reasons. So get through. Yeah, that's cool. No, thanks.
Nothing else?
Any other queries? Anyway, look, have a look at the statement. That's the best thing. Best thing. Keep us honest. Okay, jump over to roads. I'll give you a quick roads update. There's only one picture for this. No, right. This made a presence at the forum too. David brought this along. It was the best thing we had at the forum to sort of throw it around so everyone could be heard. Cool, thanks. Okay. So this information is available on the TCCS website as well. So if you don't have to sort of copy it all down now, I'll just give myself my own copy here. So what I'll do, I'll run through these various projects and where they're at. Because there's quite a lot of them, if you want to interject and ask questions per project, that's fine. No. First thing I'd say is, again, Associate Retire. Now, I'm a resident of Gungahlin, so I do understand this. Thank you for your patience. I know the Gungahlin area has probably felt like a construction site for some time. There's so much going on. It's good. Thank you for your patience. At last, there's light at the end of the tunnel on a lot of these projects. So, and I think when the town centre is finished, it'll probably be one of the best, I think it'll be the best town centre in Canberra actually. So, from a place to come and shop and those sort of things. So thanks for your patience over the years, and thank you for your continued patience with a few of the projects that are still going on. So number one, so we just number them. So the siding sort of see by the quarters, the finishing quarters. That's how we try to allocate the projects. So the first one, number one, is the Hibberson Street shared zone. Probably much more to be said there. Renee touched on the street party Saturday week. It's almost finished. The fencing's come down. You can see the results. It's looking pretty good. Early days, that sort of stuff. That linked obviously to the light rail terminus. I mean, it's all looking pretty cool. It's come together well. Again, thank you. If any of you here representing the businesses on Hibberson Street around the area, thank you again for your patience while the construction work went on. Appreciate it has impacts, so appreciate that. So that's all good. Now, number two, Gungahlin Drive Stage 1. Okay, Look, again, thank you for your patience. You probably noticed if you've driven to it recently from Mirabai Drive heading southwest, the lanes, particularly from where the service station is, you notice the lanes are almost, the ceiling's all done. It's almost ready to go to 4 lanes, those sort of things. You can't go into 4 lanes straight away because the Mirabai Drive intersection, that is a very complicated intersection to signalise. Because it's a roundabout, it's a current roundabout with all those cars travelling in. Off the top of my head, I cannot remember the vehicles per day, but it's thousands of vehicles per day use that roundabout. It's very difficult to convert that to a full traffic signalised intersection without the impact it's having. So again, patience there. The contractor's telling us it's still probably towards into November to get the work finished. So still ask a bit more patience around to get that work done. Now, what I should mention is starting this Sunday, coming Sunday night, I think, was it Sunday after? It is Sunday night. Saturday night, Monday night, that intersection will be fully closed from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So it's a night closure, so it's the less impact to the general traffic. So it'll be open by morning peak when you're driving to work. But the closure is done to start the signalisation process because I know the mouldings for the traffic islands have gone in and those sorts of things. So they need to actually get it, the traffic lights in, that sort of stuff. The safest way to do it for the construction workers to do it the most efficiently is to close the intersection. So there'll be night closures, at least Sunday night and Monday night coming, and possibly extending. Just depends on how quick they get the work done and weather and that sort of stuff. I mean, we'd all love a ton of rain because it's so dry, but rain does delay projects. But anyway, we'll just see what happens. So there will be our website. Our website will have all information about the detours. So for that night period, there will be detours in place. So it's going to send people all over the place. So we'll be using like Catherine Avenue, quite a few detours to get people in and around, particularly people heading to Ngunnawal and those places. So just be aware of all that. So, but it's at night, so between 8 p.m. and 6 a.m. So again, apologies for the inconvenience. let everyone you know that. Check the website to see when it's going to be and what the detours will be. So if you're whizzing into the town centre to do something at 9 o'clock on Sunday night, heading Mirabai Drive, you'll be diverted elsewhere. Okay, so using Catherine Avenue and can't remember, Horsepark Drive going back through. Anyway, I haven't got all the details again here right in front of me, but that's what is coming up Sunday night, Monday night. So any queries on that?
It may be a silly question, but I was never here at the start. Why did they only have 3 lanes on Mirabai instead of 4? Do they expect the traffic of a morning to be banked up but not an afternoon?
Yeah, look, the best way to answer it is across all these projects. There's a lot of duplication, a lot of enhancements going on. Gungahlin, in a general look, the Gungahlin is still the fastest growing region in Australia. There's still more people moving here than in the last 3 or 4 years now, anywhere else in Australia. That's the growth of the area. So there's been a bit of a catch up going on. So that's one of the reasons why. You know, it's like Mirabai Drive, the dam wall. It's wide enough to take the lanes. But there was 2 lanes built initially, and then it was designed to be enhanced like we're doing now. But all these works are coming now because the growth has just been so rapid. So look, it's a bit of a roundabout way of answering the question, but that's what's going on. But anyway, the works, that's what's happening here. Sorry.
I'm retired, so I don't have to go to work.
Yeah. Oh, look,
that makes it so much better.
Yeah, no, it is. It has been converted. Yeah, absolutely. So, like I said, I'll leave you too. So put up the stuff. Okay. So queries on that. That's a really important message to get out. So just thanks for your patience. There will be. It's a complicated signalisation. There will be those closures Sunday night, Monday night. Okay. So that's 2 and 3. 4, Ernest Kavanagh Street extension. So you're aware of that. That's happening now. So again, there's some closures around Cape Grace and Hinder Street related to that at the moment. So that Ernest Kavanagh gets cut in. So I'm off the Facebook page, I'm sure. So Ernest Kavanagh comes up here. That cuts in. That opens up those blocks and what's called Gungahlin East. So it allows the servicing. And you've got to remember too, it's not just roads that are going in; it's the servicing underground and all those sort of things. The number 5 is the Cape Grace Valley Avenue 4-way intersection. So that's underway to do, and that again helps the Gungahlin East and opening those blocks up. So light rail stage 1, just a further update there. So from the Gungahlin end, it's all looking pretty good, as you've seen. And if you've seen the light rail vehicles doing the testing, so they're running, you've seen all those whizzing around the place. So they're starting to do the testing and all that sort of stuff. They do the brake testing. It's interesting. They've got to test. The vehicles have got to be tested, I think, without incident for about 4 weeks to get certifications. There's a lot of testing has to happen. It's to make sure the whole thing is safe. That's so far all going well. So the track slab, including the depot down at Mitchell, has all been laid all the way from Gungahlin to the city. So approximately 25,200 metres of track slab has now been laid. There's still some infill concrete works and defects rectification going on. Welding of the rail is ongoing. Over 23,000 metres of rail has been installed, which is 94% of the total rail length. So they're going pretty well. So the final sections around Northwood Avenue, getting close to the city. You probably see all the workers are down there working at the moment. They're working through the night and those sort of things. And the final vehicle, light rail vehicle, number 14, was delivered at the end of September. So that's that light rail update. Okay, Horsepark duplication. So Horsepark, where's it? So there's a couple of sections to Horsepark. So
Back to the microphone.
sorry, I'm just.
Take the microphone with you.
Well, it's probably more. Is it more the people watching on Facebook? Can they see this?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. Okay.
But just take the microphone so they can hear you.
Cool. That's a good idea. Yeah, sorry. Breaking protocol. So, no, it's important. So, Horsepark Drive. So, the western end. This is going well. You probably noticed, like all the signals coming out of Ford, those sort of things are all operational. You probably noticed the works right up towards past Catherine Main. I should know off the top of my head. Near the playing fields up there towards near Amaroo. So that those works, the duplication bits around the intersection there are happening at the moment. So that's all on track. It's all on track towards, I'm just looking for completion. Probably the federal, so that end will be towards the end of this year and early next year. So, so that, actually the Mulligan's Flat, the Amaroo end is actually into next year, the completion there. But so far so good, and soon the traffic light's coming on. The bit in the middle obviously is complete, that's all duplicated. The eastern end heading to Federal Highway, you see obviously the works are well underway. Those works are expected to be completed towards the end of the first quarter 2019. So fingers crossed, weather permitting and other unexpected delays that can happen with these sorts of large infrastructure works, is that pretty much from here through to Federal Highway will be duplicated by about April next year. Fingers crossed, all good. So that's where that's at. So again, thank you for everyone's patience. It's still single lane. It's down to 60 because of the road construction work. That's to keep our workers, our contractors safe and those sort of things. So please respect those traffic signs and slow down. But that's where those projects are at. Gundaroo Drive Stage 2, so heading towards Barton Highway. The works to relate to the gas main between the Durr Drive, the entrance to Gungahlin Lakes Golf Club have commenced. And there's some ongoing defects, things have to be repaired, so some delays there. So the current forecast for those works to be completed is that's the gas main is this month. Road construction is ongoing. You see the bridge, the additional bridge duplication is under construction at the moment if you've driven past there, so that's all underway. And there is so a full-time 3-day-long lane closure of Gundaroo Drive between Abina Avenue and Durr Drive will be required in late October to allow for the construction of that bridge deck. So just be aware of that. We'll obviously get the communications out and those sort of things to let people know what's going on there, at least the week prior to that. Now, stage 2 is expected to be completed into 2020. So there's still a bit more patience on that road. There's still a bit of work to be done. You can sort of see we had to relocate the gas main, build the bridges. Bridges are complicated things. They take a while to build, construct, and then the other duplication works. The last thing is, I'll just mention number 9 is, it's got on our map, is there's proposed works Gungahlin Place. We're looking at some additional works. Sorry, I've got the mic with me. Is the southern end of Gungahlin Place. So through here, there's some more works. We're just looking through here, some other improvements here. So there's some design work going on there at the moment. Probably nothing much more to share at this stage. It's all subject to budget and things. We're just looking at what other improvements we can make at that end of Gungahlin Place, and again to help into the town centre and those sorts of things. So that's happening now, but there'll be more. Probably Peter, probably at a future meeting, there might be some more information we can share about that. But just it's not on the map because it's not a happening project right now. But we're looking to possibly make some additional improvements and really like amenity improvements, good for people visiting the town centre and getting around, things like that, and for the kids and that sort of stuff. So. That's a quick update on all those capital works projects. Any queries, questions, or? Sorry. Yeah.
Thinking about Flemington Road as it goes through Mitchell, which is down to 1 lane at the moment, so they could do all the light rail works. Now the track slab's all complete. Can we please have that lane back as sooner rather than later?
Look, I'll tell my head. I don't know. There's still works to occur there. So I just have to. Well, I can find out and let Peter know, I suppose, what the timing is. Yeah, I think it's. I'm just not sure of the timing of the. Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Anyone else with a question?
Yeah, there's Dave was. No, sorry.
This is. You've sort of spoken about this one. Somebody's commenting here. So if we have to wait until November for relief, what are you going to do to help the residents of Amaroo get out of their suburb? 35 minutes a day is crap. So I guess that's the sentiment that we're hearing.
So I gather from that's being the Horse Park Drive.
So that's probably the
Gundaroo Drive, Mirabai, Amaroo. Trying to think which road they're using. So Gundaroo Mirabai, yeah. So it's the Mirabai Drive.
It's getting
I
out of
think the
Amaroo.
comment came in while we were talking about Gungahlin.
Yeah.
It backs up all the way through here, back to the roundabout, all the way up through Catherine Avenue, and all the way back towards Null.
Yeah, because the delay out of here. Look, it's like I say, it's probably I can't I can't offer a certain sudden solution here. It is a result of the construction works that are occurring there, and there is that like domino effect because that Mirabai Drive intersection works and the difficulties created. That is pushing the queues back in at the morning peak. We're aware of that. Look, the best one is patience. Appreciate the patience to date. I know this project is well overdue. There's been a whole range of reasons. Appreciate the patience going to November. Look, the obvious things people can do is think about other times to, if it's too frustrating, think of other times to travel. But I don't want to be sort of, I'm not trying to be patronising there. It's a difficult, and I appreciate the patience. It is what it is, I suppose. I'm not trying to sugarcoat this. That's the best answer. Yeah. I know. Appreciate the sentiment. I understand the frustration. Like I said, it is.
I've got a few more here too.
Yep.
I'll jump.
Yeah. Do you want-
So I guess I got two questions, Jim. First is around traffic flow in the town centre. Is not good. Okay, it's we appreciate that there's construction underway, but there seem to be some really bad design faults coming out of Anthony Rolfe into Gozard Street. There's a traffic light there, but to get in underneath the car park, just above where the number 1 is here, which is underneath the Woolworths car park, there's no lead in. So cars queue out of the car park, back into Ernest Kavanagh, which then blocks the cars coming into Gozard, and it backs right back up in front of emergency services. So that's a microcosm of a whole general problem around how is traffic meant to flow around the town centre. And that is made potentially worse by the fact that over the next year or two, we're going to get around 3,500 units on that block near number 3. And has ACT Roads started looking at that problem?
Question. The answer is yes. So look, there's a bit to this. Firstly, so I'll try and 3 things, I suppose. Look, firstly is we need to get a lot of these works around the town centre complete, because some of these works are to assist with traffic getting around the town centre. The town centre may not be the destination, but because of where it is, they travel around and through at the moment. So all these works, when we get some of these duplications finished, we'll see. We should start seeing improvement in its overall traffic movements around the town centre. When that happens, what we'll also do is we'll monitor the actual movement within the town centre, and that comes to your point, Peter, is that we'll actually look at those sort of more local movements and what's going on. Now, particularly, understand some of those entrants in and out of getting underneath the, I suppose, let's call it the Woolworths car park, I suppose, as opposed to the Coles end. We'll keep an eye on those things, because other things too, because that's now the bus route, of course. They're going through the new bus interchange and those sorts of things. So we'll keep an eye on that. With the additional apartments and units going on, we're obviously very aware of that. The other thing we're looking at is improving the active travel connection. So active travel, it means where people can walk and ride and those sort of things, because some of the linkages, they could be better. So we know that. So we're looking at some around those sort of things as well. So that actually won't solve cars coming in to do the grocery shopping from elsewhere, but it will help with that point that Peter made about the volume of people moving from this northwestern section of the town centre down through, particularly to the shops and to light rail and those sort of things. So that's sort of the 3 sort of layers of what we're doing. So look, it's more to come.
Okay.
Yeah.
On that. And those are the online questions.
I said I don't want to drop my glasses here.
So roads, I think we kind of knew what the sentiment was going to be here. A couple more questions/comments. Why is roadwork so slow? Are you trying to do too much at once? And similar, why can't they expedite construction by having the contractors increase manpower? And somebody's asked specifically why the delay on the old Well Station Road.
Right, okay. Complicated answer. The works are broken up into contracts that the ACT market can respond to. So we're talking those medium level companies, and look, they put a lot of resource at these things. So the contracts, without getting all the details, the contracts require these companies to work the timeframes and those sorts of things. Delays Look, I think for previous councils, I think the Gundaroo Drive has been talked about. The Gundaroo Drive delays have been exceptional. I think every utility that could possibly exist we've found, either not in the right location, the wrong depth, had to be upgraded, a whole range of things. A combination of those things has caused the delays to Gundaroo Drive. So it's not like the contractors can be bothered working hard. It's just there's been a number of factors that have occurred there, and that is unfortunate. And again, like I say, but I don't, repeating myself, I appreciate the patience of people around that. The other projects, they're generally going well to time. You remember these are complex jobs. Again, not making excuses, but they're like the road duplications, utilities. There's complexities to them. Like I say, building extra bridges takes time. A whole range of things there. Moving utilities is complicated. I've spoken a fair bit about the Mirabai Drive intersection. You know, going from a roundabout to a signalised intersection, it's a complicated job. These things take time. So that's the first one. Now the second one is Well Station. So that's the new intersection connection to Federal Highway. Is that one? I'm not.
The road is actually closed going alongside Epic.
Oh, yeah, that's Epic. That's the connection. I'm not sure the status of that. Do you have an update, you guys? Yeah. It is. It's the Morissette Street connection. Sorry.
So it's actually roads to recovery resurfacing work. So it's not that it's delayed. It's just I think maybe there might be some confusion between the intersection works finishing and then this project sort of, coming in at the end of that. So the resurfacing works are expected to be finished by the new year. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and just a couple of comments. What's the long-term solution? What are we doing to improve the planning process that led to the situation that we're in? Generally looking forwards, what are we going to start doing differently?
Jeez, where do we start? How long have we got? There was a bit to that comment. When I said before, like with the growth of the Gungahlin district, and there's a bit of catch up in the infrastructure. It is what it is. Like we're doing what we can to catch up. Again, the patience factor. I think you'll see around the town centre by November, you'll see a massive difference around here with these major jobs completed. Into next year, you'll see like a lot of that Horse Park Drive stuff completed. This year, though, I think it's a tricky one because with road duplications, eventually you'll get congestion at morning peak. Doesn't matter what you do. What happens? You make roads more efficient, and then they'll get to the next bottleneck. So we're constantly trying to manage the entire network of the ACT, particularly that morning peak, is to identify where the bottlenecks are and to solve them. But it is just naturally a difficult thing to do. So if you can appreciate, everyone's going to work for various reasons. About 60% of Canberra's working population work in the Parliamentary Triangle, including the city. It's a big proportion. That's where a lot of people are heading. So as a consequence, we're trying to always solve getting people into that area. So we're always looking at the queues, where people are queuing, that sort of stuff, and trying to solve those. So what I'm saying is that we're doing this work in Gungahlin. It's good. We'll keep moving traffic efficiently, but we do this in context of the whole network of Canberra and how it's all working, and it's a bit complicated. So there will be. Sorry, answering the question. What can we do? What we're doing with driving in a car to work is trying to make it as efficient as possible in the Canberra context, which is still pretty good relative to other cities. But that's again, don't sound all patronising. We're trying to make it as good as we can. Other things we can do is, look, I think just at a broad, not commenting on design or whatever, from a broad planning perspective, having lots of people living in the town centre near infrastructure like light rail is a good thing. The less people that can get to work and their destinations without getting in a car is better for the city. So when we invest, these massive investments, the government makes decisions to build light rail and these sort of things, it's good. The more people that catch light rail, the better, because it gets people out of cars. So we have less congestion. That's excellent. So there's a lot of responsibility around that. So in terms of land, there's two things there, just people's choices to use public transport. But the first one I was mentioning there was this land use. And just at a macro sense, having more people living in our town centres is just good. It's just good common sense. So we've got big infrastructure here, big investment from utilities, amenities, retailing. We can get something to eat, all that sort of stuff, through to the public transport connections. So that's good. Again, you're probably aware across Canberra, the government has specific strategies in place to enhance the volume of the amount of mums that people live in our town centres. So we take maximum advantage of that. And then the other focus is to get as many people as we can living on our public transport corridors. So it's no surprise that down Flemington Road, the apartments have been built. You see all those sort of things. The whole idea there was to get as many people living next to where the public transport is going to be. And it's the same philosophy you'll see being applied in Molonglo. If you go and have a look at Molonglo, along John Gorton Drive, lots of flats, densities, things like that. The whole thing is to get people living near that infrastructure. So that's what happens, the planning, land use, those sort of things. Investment in public transport, make it attractive, convenient. With public transport, the whole new bus network timetabling that's being consulted upon and it's coming out. The whole idea is to get the rapids, like the connections between the town centres working, so it becomes more attractive to get people moving quickly through the city. And again, I mentioned active travel before, just in the town centre. The government has a very large focus on active travel and investments across the city. I think over the next few years, it's over 20 million, I think, is being invested in bike path infrastructure, just people walking around, supporting infrastructure, things like that to make it more attractive. Now, I know not everyone can get in a bike and get to work and those sort of things, but those that can, we're trying to make it as convenient as possible. So, I don't know if that helps. So.
Somebody says, just a positive, as a long-time Gungahlin resident, I appreciate that it all takes time and that Gungahlin will be a great place to live once all the works are completed, so I thought you might like to hear one pat on the back. And another specific question, is there a plan for adding additional lanes to Gungahlin Drive on the other side of Gundaroo, heading back towards Ngunnawal? The traffic there, I go the other way dropping my kids off to school, and it's backed up. It's backed up to John Paul College.
No, not at this stage, but like I was saying before, we keep an eye on the entire network. So there's not an immediate capital works project about that at this time. But doesn't mean it may not happen in the future.
Any other questions?
Any online questions, David? Or
I did have just a follow-up. So just a comment around the planning piece, because there clearly has been a lot of planning because there's been road verges allowed for dual carriageways for Gundaroo Drive, for Gungahlin Drive, including beyond Gundaroo Drive, like that questioner just asked. But if you look around Gungahlin, just by driving around, there's a whole bunch of other roads, like the remainder of Horse Park Drive, Clary Hermes Drive. All of these have been laid out, ready for duplication. My concern is that if we're not planning to duplicate those roads now, which were obviously planned to be dual carriageways because the land's been allowed for it, if we're not planning for that now, it will be at least 3 years before anyone puts a bulldozer in there to start work, because it'll take a year to decide that we need to get funding to do the design work, and then we'll need a year to do the design work to then maybe get funding to actually build it. So if we decided tomorrow that we need to duplicate Clary Hermes Drive, it will be roughly 3 years before the bulldozer would start. So, I know that the plan is let's finish this lot, then we'll start again. But my concern is that we'll hit another bulge, because, as you pointed out, we're still adding suburbs. Now that's going to stop soon, but Taylor is yet to fill, Moncrief's yet to fill, Jackatoo's about to start. So that's still coming. And there should be no surprises to the ACT government that we will have more cars, because they keep selling more land. There's a pretty direct linkage to that. So I guess, Jim, what I'm trying to make clear is that we're not done, right? There's 70,000 people here. There's going to be 80 or 90,000 people here, and the roads will still have to grow, even with an investment in active travel. So just flag that.
Thank you. Noted. I suppose the only comment I make, Peter, is we don't just say, we'll do this and we'll go, a few Gungahlin's done, we'll go off somewhere else. We keep a constant eye on the network. So again, back to that query on the western end of Gungahlin Drive with that question, just because it's not like I say, it's not in the program to be built now. Doesn't mean we're not monitoring the network. So just we keep an eye on those things. But we've got to manage. We've got to manage the entire Canberra network. So we've got to constantly keep an eye on that, I suppose.
Just to follow up to that, is there a forward plan in place now?
Yeah, our roads guys, we've got a whole infrastructure planning unit in roads, and they monitor the network all the time, and they look at 3, 5, 10 years out. What's the data telling us, those sort of things. So across the network, and it's that's where we it's big investment dollars. It's that ongoing thing. Government's got to make a lot of decisions where to invest in the infrastructure of the city. Yeah. So,
Right, David. Maybe one more.
Just with that 20 million allocated for active travel in upcoming years, has anything in particular been identified for the Gungahlin Town Centre? Because this is a ripe opportunity. We're going to have light rail starting. Why don't we get the bike paths to go that funnel 200 metres into the town centre?
That's exactly what we're looking at. Yeah, like I said, I was mentioning just where the units have been built, where the Jericon Towers are, and those other ones, Ruby, and those ones under construction at the moment. We're looking at our better connections into the centre. That's exactly what we're looking at. So, yeah.
Do we have a time frame?
Well, I can't be specific at this stage. No, can't give exact this time. That investment's again right across Canberra. Looking at like other town centres, so Woden, we're doing some good improvements. Tuggeranong's getting some great improvements, things like that. So yeah, haven't got a specific time frame, but we're looking at what we can do and talking to the developers themselves. But yeah, they're well underway, of course.
This one's about light rail and Gungahlin residents connecting to the light rail. This person's saying that the biggest issue will be no additional all-day parking in the town centre, and an extended park and ride or facility would have been perfect. But generally, I guess the connections to light rail, that's something you'll be continuing to monitor ongoing?
It is. So again, with the new bus network, no surprises in Gungahlin. You probably noticed that the outlying suburbs, they connect by what we call the route buses at the moment. They'll come into the town centre, so there'll be those connection points. That's the first thing. So that's been looked at. So like where I live, for example, I can get on a bus now and go all the way into the city if I want to. When that service cuts out when light rail starts, so it'll become just where I live. It'll just come into the town centre, and I can make the transition to light rail. So that's the first thing. Second, just lost. What was the full question again? Sorry, I just lost train of thought. Park and ride. Yeah, no, excellent. Thank you, person who raised that. So with the park and ride that's existing now, which is along, it's just around, just over back here through here. So we're looking right that now about how best to manage that park and ride going forward, because it will be very attractive. So looking how to best link it. So link it to, your swipe on off card, those sort of things, how to make it work. Because we're conscious that obviously Wynyard House has introduced paid parking and those sorts of things. So pressures will come. So we are looking at the park and ride options in Gungahlin to see how that's managed. The other one is we're looking at a park and ride near Well Station Road as well. That's another one we're looking at. So for people on the southern side of Gungahlin, looking to provide some options there. As we're looking at park and rides across the territory, but that is something we're looking at right now, how to manage that park and ride in Gungahlin. So we're very aware of that going forward, because it will be, I think it'll be a very attractive option for people. Yeah. Is that probably enough, Peter? Right.
All done?
There is one more online.
Yep.
Hang on. Any plan to put traffic lights in at FKPDs and Gungahlin Place?
Look, not at this stage. Because where the giveaway signs have been changed, so there's that are in. No, not at this stage. But I know why the person would be asking about that.
Yeah, I mean, mixed feelings about that. We're getting a lot more traffic lights, so yet another set be interesting.
Like I said, I think it's important to get these works finished, and like I say, we'll see how the movements are tracking. Yeah, very important.
All right.
Thanks, Bill.
Thank you, Jim, for coming along and facing the gauntlet of the roads update. It's always a tough one. We recognise that.
Anytime.
If we could go back 5 or 6 years in time and get these done these projects underway then rather than now. That would have been wonderful. You said this. Yeah, no, we've got the recordings going back years and the slides. So thanks very much, Jim. All right, well, thank you very much for coming out tonight. I hope everyone online's enjoyed the opportunity to have a Q&A. Yes, we certainly need to make strident efforts to get our AGM running for next meeting. So we'll, as usual, spill all the positions. Those who have an interest in getting involved in all of this stuff should absolutely step forward and get involved, because it's actually pretty interesting, and there are a lot of opportunities. David and Jim talked about the Better Suburbs program, and you actually start to get a chance to actually steer things around inside Canberra, and I think that's pretty exciting. So I encourage everyone who's thinking about it to not think about it, just do it and nominate and get involved with the Community Council. So thanks very much again, and we'll see you next month. Cheers, bye.